We are falling apart here.
अब cricket भी है.
That is not an odd pick.
There are very few occasions when Amrita supports me and I will take it.
What lies?
कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच गए?
Hi and welcome to a new episode of Khandaan podcast. My name is Asim and I'm joined with my lovely co-host Amrita.
Hello.
And Sujoy.
Hey everybody.
We're doing new topic. And we get this a lot, I think, on our podcast.
A lot.
On our Patreon also, because we have a lot of people on Patreon that are not necessarily Indian or Pakistani, and they love Bollywood, however, and they all have a different path in how they got to Bollywood. And we always have this discussion also on the internet, like, my friend, I want to recommend him a friend to get him on my side of the team, to enjoy what I enjoy so much, what I love so much. Which are the movies that I should recommend to my friend to get into Bollywood? So I thought we'd do an episode on that. We've done a very extensive poll. We've asked people around, mostly my wife, about which are the movies that you would recommend, because for us the path was completely different, right? We were raised on Bollywood, so we knew the grammar and the language from the start.
But I think for me, because Hindi is not my native tongue, right? I grew up in the northeast part of India. Bengali was more heard, but because of Doordarshan, Chitrahar, and by proxy Bollywood, that's the way I learned Hindi. Even before I got Hindi lessons in school, right?
Yeah. I mean, same for me. Like, I was growing up in Belgium, so the vocabulary, the
and
modern...
You speak more Mumbaiya than most Mumbaiya people.
I don't know what I speak. Like, it's an eternal question of what my capabilities in this language are.
And, like, another thing that I wanted to point out is how people got into Bollywood. Like, our top friend Beth got into Bollywood by watching Mujhse Dosti Karoge as the first movie.
Actually, no. The first movie that she saw was Tal at the Roger Ebert Festival, and then she wanted to see more Bollywood movies, and the first one that she got was Mujhse Dosti Karoge.
Yeah. So what are your criteria when you are picking or recommending a movie? Have you thought of that way? Like, obviously, because there's no one clear answer, right? For me, when I go about it, I usually try to figure out what genres of movies that they like already, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody really likes romantic comedies, then I'm not necessarily going to recommend them an action movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll recommend them a movie that the language that they already speak, that they would be closer to them.
I think that's usually the way that I also approach it. But then I'll also just throw in one movie that I think is like super Bollywood.
Yeah.
Like, say somebody is a horror fan, and I say Tumbad.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, they will like Tumbad, because I remember when it came out, it played at, I think, the Fantastic Fest or something. And it was a huge hit. People were asking why it's not in general release in the United States. So I know that if you are a horror fan, then you will like Tumbad, even if you've never seen another, Indian movie. But at the same time, I might also just suggest to them, a Rocky or Rani.
Yeah.
Just to be like, okay, so Tumbad, if you love a horror movie, then yes. But also, if you want to see what a Bollywood movie looks like, then Rocky or Rani Ki Prem Kahani is an excellent choice.
Yeah. But then there's also some film bros that I know that they would have issues with singing and dancing, right?
Yeah.
That could be an issue. So then you don't want to necessarily...
But then at the same time, when they start experiencing the same singing and dancing through a movie like RRR, they champion that because it got a lot more testosterone than their bodies can handle. And then they sort of embrace the song and dance because it's two bros dancing, which is weird. But my criteria for not including certain movies that are my personal favorite but don't make it to the list of introducing people to Bollywood is basically movies which are a bit too heavy on the inside knowledge of Bollywood that most people who are experiencing Bollywood for the first time won't get. So movies about movies like Luck by Chance or Om Shanti Om won't necessarily be in this list because they are my favorites, but they require a lot more context.
We will get into that one because that is actually an interesting point you bring up. So I just want to say, because you mentioned RRR, it's not on the list because these are Bollywood movies.
Yeah, exactly.
These are Hindi movies that we're recommending. These are also, this list is not ranked. So we're just going through a lot of names that we thought were interesting. So let's get into the list because it's quite a long list actually, I think, and we didn't group it or any way, shape or form. first of the movie I want to talk about is a pick from you is Jab We Met.
Yes.
Why would you recommend Jab We Met?
It's a very template rom-com plus drama that I think a lot of people would appreciate. It's very Cameron Crowe in that way. I feel there are elements of Elizabethtown in Jab We Met. A lot of people will be absolutely drawn by Karina's character Geet in it because it starts with that. It's such a fiery, banging start, and it immediately draws you into that world, and you don't leave it because you see Geet from that to the later part and her sort of arc through the POV of Aditya in a way. And so I think it's a very good introduction for people who, because this is what sort of the staple of the mid 90s and the 2000s DVD era of romantic comedy of Hollywood has been. And I think Jab We Met is that right crossover, I would say. And it has songs, and it has bloody lovely songs.
Yeah, it's also very like dialogue talk heavy movie, I feel, and I think that might
And
hold
it
a
doesn't
certain
require a lot of cultural context.
exactly, yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. Next pick we have Queen.
I love Queen, and also Queen is very easily translatable because it's about girl power. It's about a girl who's like in a bad relationship, and then she sort of like realizes that she can stand on her own 2 feet. That's a universal message. Anyone would love it.
Yeah, I think Queen, maybe the legacy of Queen has maybe been tarnished by Kangana Ranaut the character, but I think if you're recommending
Kangana Ranaut the character.
yeah, but I think if you're recommending it to
And
somebody,
also Vikas Bal.
yeah, true. But if you're recommending it to somebody who's not coming with all of that baggage,
Yeah.
I think it's a very strong kind of, and also the whole Euro trip kind of thing would also create some connections
fun.
for a lot
Yeah.
of people that are, outside of Bollywood. So it creates that. You picked 2 here on the list, but I'm just going to give you one.
Okay.
Company.
Okay. I mean, it's one of those like gangster dramas that if people are into that.
This is a boys movie, right?
Yeah,
This is
it's
boys.
a Scorsese or Coppola movies that people love in the West, and if they want to experience that universe being transported into the underbelly of Mumbai, sort of based on true stories in the 90s with many names that I don't want to mention. Company is that movie. It's one of those very rare Ram Gopal Verma movies that stand the test of time.
Isn't Bachke Tu Rehna the item song from Company?
Yes, Khalas.
Khalas. And that is also a complete shift in item songs in Bollywood, by the way. Like, it was like a completely new visual style
Yeah.
when that came out.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of Bollywood history.
And also like one of those breakthrough Vivek Oberoi performances.
Yeah.
It had Mohan Lal coming from
Yeah.
Malayalam industry.
Samp Se Dosti. I can't remember.
And
what
he
the
still
rest of it
had
was.
that very thick Malayali accent in
Yeah.
it. And he, like RGV insisted on that accent. He said he could dub it better, but he insisted him on being a sort of outsider into this
Yeah.
world.
Next movie that I've picked, that I've actually myself recommended to a lot of people that are kind of getting into Bollywood, and every time it's been a hit, it's Andhadhun.
Yeah.
Very simple kind of noir kind of movie, thriller, noir, femme fatale. These are all cinematic tropes
Yeah.
that people that are into films, into cinema will get very easily. But it does have that very, in a way, melodramatic twist and turns that
Yeah.
Bollywood provides. A banger soundtrack, great performances, and I mean, Tabbu as a femme fatale, man.
Yeah.
She's a femme fatale for all femme fatale.
I think it's a very good movie to introduce people to the fandom of Taboo.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think generally Sriram Raghavan movies are easily to recommend to film bros in general. I think it's a very, like, maybe he
Yeah.
himself is a film bro too, I don't know. But he speaks that language. I think those are, if you're talking to a film bro, recommend a Sriram Raghavan movie, and Andhadhun is probably the safest bet out of all
Yes.
of them. Next one I have here is Dil Dhadakne Do.
I don't know about Dil Dhadakne though, but
That was on your list too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why was it on your list?
It's a rich people's story. Who doesn't love that? It's a like sort of escape romance about people who are rich. They also have family issues.
It's crazy rich Asians, but crazy Desi Asians.
Yeah, on a cruise, and shit goes wrong, and misunderstandings, and
Feminism.
Yeah. And there is literally a song called Girls Like to Swing.
Yeah.
What's not
Yeah.
to love?
Yeah. Also, I think again, when you talk, for example, if you're talking about Queen, right, and then Dil Dhadakne Do, it's a milieu that people will understand, a cruise ship, right? So I think that's something that people can grasp. And also the way the language is written, we say that about Farhan Akhtar, but I think in Dil Dhadakne Do, it does seem like one of those scripts written in English and then translated. I'm sure it's not the case for Zoya, because she's...
I think it is.
It is? Okay. But maybe I just give too much credence to Zoya, but I think that's one of those reasons why...
But doesn't it annoy you? Because I know it has like one of those tropes that like really annoys you, which is there's a voiceover character who just mysteriously vanishes halfway through the film. And that's the
never
dog
appears,
played
yeah.
by Amir Khan.
Best Amir role.
Yeah.
No, the trope is when the movie starts with a voiceover and doesn't end with a voiceover.
Yeah.
Here it does. So Zoya is within my confines of my rules of a voiceover. Next movie that I've got here on my list, Lagaan. Lagaan?
Yeah.
Okay, I've tried showing
Yeah.
people Lagaan
Yeah.
to convince them, and literally all of them have either like got up and literally walked away
Yeah.
because it went on for so long,
Yeah.
or else have fallen asleep.
I've recommended this movie. They see the length of the movie and they're like, no.
I think the pandemic did everybody dirty. Like, especially like when the pandemic hit and everybody discovered TikTok and Instagram, the attention span really shrunk, and we are no longer in a world where we can appreciate 3-hour
Okay,
movies.
cool story, but my experiences are from like 2003. So,
Yeah,
fair.
like, I was like trying to
But
show
at
it
the
to people
same
then.
time, we all binge Korean dramas, which have like 1 hour long episodes, and they have 17 episodes in a season, and they're like 10 seasons long.
But
Have
in
you-
that, they're like kissing and they're pretty and they're so cute. And here, it's like 4 hours of cricket. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's not.
Have you
it's not
successfully recommended Lagaan to somebody?
No.
Okay, I was just like, how has this happened? Because I've thought of, like, I've talked about it a few times, and on the length, there no,
Yeah.
you know, like I'm
Maybe
not-
it's cricket that's the issue rather than Lagaan the movie.
like
mean,
I don't even
Lagaan
think
the
they get to the
movie-
cricket.
I know.
Like, they have to go through 3 hours of the movie to get to the cricket. Ab cricket bhi hai.
We are falling apart here.
Next one for me, I guess. Again, another. I feel I'm doing all the broy film boys movies. Again, one that I've recommended, Agneepath, the new one,
Yeah,
the
Hrithik
Hrithik
Roshan.
Roshan one, not the Amitabh one, because then you can just watch Scarface. There's no point to it. I think with Agneepath, it's such a testosterone, male-driven, angsty anger, male fantasy that it's so, like, I think it hits some of the notes that RRR hits, you know, like a boy's fantasy. Like, I will be able to just like demolish everybody else and like be the vanquisher and have my revenge. And these are just very simple ideas that appeal to men.
And also does not exist in Hollywood anymore.
Yeah. And I think Hrithik, and then also just Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah.
Like, what a performance, you know.
Yeah.
He's just like the physicality, the menace. It's an amazing movie, and I wish that Karan Malhotra could ever make a movie as good as
Yeah.
this. And I fear that it might not be the case. But Agneepath, again, if you're like a boy's boy and you want to watch a movie that, like, if somebody is like a film guy and he's already watching Korean movies and Japanese movies, Agneepath is a simple
Yeah.
kind of fit in there, you know, like tie it, you know. So, and also easily accessible. That's also something that we
Yes.
sometimes need to.
And also there's somebody who you would discover amongst the two protagonist and the antagonist, and that's Rishi Kapoor playing this great Raflala as like a Shakespearean lead from some play. It's so masterful.
Number 9, Gully Boy.
I think it's a very easy sell. It's basically a remake of Eminem's
8 Mile.
Yeah, and it's nobody's like Zoya's never acknowledged that, but I think everyone can see it, especially if you've seen the two movies side by side. It's a meteor that's like very familiar to a Western or like a non-Indian audience, and I think it would work.
Yeah, I always thought it was more rocky than 8 Mile, like for me in terms of what the movie was, but also just the rap element of it. You know, it's such a easy way to connect with people because rap is just something that's gone mainstream. Like, it's not the rap that I grew up with, right? Like, the rap I grew up with was very still kind of like.
NWA.
Yeah, it was like a niche counterculture narrative. Then it was fighting the power. Now rap is the power.
Yeah.
And that makes it easier for people to accept and understand. Literally every country has a rap star or a rap artist now. So I think, I think Gully Boy, also the way it's shot, again, it's very Western in its
Yes.
in its lens, right? So I think that's why it might be a good pick. I don't know why I said number 9 when we're not numbering this list, but I'm going back and forth in any case. Again, a very odd pick for you, Sujoy. You had Kuch Kuch Hota Hai on this list.
Yes.
No, that is not an odd pick.
It's not? Okay.
It is not an odd pick. Go ahead.
Thank you, Amrita.
Yes.
Thank you. There are very few occasions when Amrita supports me, and I will take it.
What lies?
Yeah, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai is the best for me. It's a very easy sell for people to get into the sort of canvas of Bollywood, as it's a very stereotypical canvas of Bollywood, but it's like this will ease them into other things. And this has Shah Rukh Khan in the lead with his fabulous hair. It's Archie's in the
Yes.
beginning, which is something that is very, very familiar for people in the West, and for people who want to explore what Bollywood has to offer. And then the second half is about two lovers coming back into each other's lives through the magic of the young daughter, and that's such a sweet thing.
Every single time that I've recommended Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, it's worked gangbuster. I still remember showing it to this one particular friend of mine, and she was like a very hard-bitten, like artist type, like very like, like nothing matters, sort of a nihilist kind of a person. And I remember we got to the part where she's getting married, Kajol is getting married to Salman, and you think that Salman's gonna marry her by force.
Yeah.
And I still remember she had like tears in her eyes, and she turned to me and she was like, they better be getting back together. Like this better be a happy ending. Like people get really invested in this film, and the emotional beats of it like really land. And I know Karan is embarrassed by this film, but he really shouldn't be. It's a very strong showing for a first time director.
I had an Indonesian friend who watched this when I was in university, and he watched it without subtitles. And when Kajol throws that chunni at the train station, he was like tears all over. Like he was just watching the visuals and he got the story.
Yeah.
That's how strong it is.
Okay. No, I mean, it is Archie's also, right?
Yes.
But sometimes I worry Archie's might be like a storytelling trope that people don't connect with. And it is a very Bollywood movie, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be fully committed to what Bollywood is.
If you ask for a Bollywood movie recommendation, then Kuch Kuch Hota Hai is
a very
the
strong
one that
one.
you get.
Yeah. I've got one here, Gangubai Kathiawadi. I think Sanjay Leela Bhansali generally is a very easy director to recommend to people that are not part of Bollywood, just because the visuals are so lush, you know. You could almost think of Hong Kong cinema or Chinese cinema, that kind of visuals, or even some certain French kind of cinema, like very grand, very lush. So Sanjay Leela Bhansali is very easy to recommend. I think this is probably his best movie of, if you don't, I'm not a fan of his Deepika Ranveer phase that he had. And then Devdas, you know my feelings about. It's not one of my favorite. I think Gangubai is kind of like his most complete movie. It's clearly a biopic. Again, a genre that people can connect to very easily. It has an amazing performance from Alia, where she really gives it her all.
And most importantly, it's available on Netflix.
Yes. And one of those rare, I would say, Sanjay Leela Bhansali movies where the emotions and the storytelling supersede the visuals. Where the visuals are amazing, And just such strong scenes when she says, bind her legs because we cannot trust men. That is such a strong message that really hits, So Gangubai.
And Gangubai crossed over, like especially in Thailand and Southeast Asia. There were a lot of TikToks of Dholida and specific scenes where people were enacting and doing acting challenges. It was fabulous.
Let's get into it. Om Shanti Om.
I am so surprised, but this is somehow a really strongly recommended movie for people getting into Bollywood.
Yes.
Our friends Matt and Erin from Bollywood is for Lovers podcast, they apparently recommend this movie all the time to people who are trying to get into Bollywood.
I think this was their gateway into in Bollywood. Yeah.
And what you were saying, which is that a lot of people watch this straight and then they come back to it years later or whatever, once they know a little bit more about Bollywood, and then they find the references and they finally get like that meta element. And I guess that's true. Like if you just take it as a straight up Phantom of the Opera, sort of adaptation, then yes, it does work. And again, that is a story and a narrative structure that is like very familiar to people outside of India. So I guess that would work. I'm just really surprised though.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's such a referential.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like there's too many references
Yeah.
for different eras of Bollywood and the insider knowledge. Because Farah Khan is such a fan of Bollywood herself.
Yeah.
So she gave it her all.
But I think that's the genius of Farah Khan as a filmmaker, right? Like that she can make a movie that's so much her, but it just translates. Like the visuals, the story, the emotions that she's giving.
It's not just the references.
Yeah, it's pure cinema.
Yeah.
And Farah Khan is a magician, I love her. Hope she would make more movies. I'll give you a boys movie, Sujoy. We watched this together in the cinema with a very kind of like indie horror kind of crowd, midnight movie crowd. It played like gangbusters.
Yeah.
Kill.
Yeah. Kill is one of the best action movies that to have come out from India. And I'm...
Crack, jeetega.
Sure. Asim is still batting for the wrong team. But if you love Hong Kong action, if you grew up on a heavy dose of Jet Li, Jackie Chan, and the recent, Iko Uwais movies by Gareth Evans, the Raid movies, Kill is a very easy recommend. It's a non-stop what happens in one night kind of a movie, and two commandos and the main guy go up against a bunch of dacoits within a train compartment. The train is moving and shit hits the fan. And yeah, you haven't seen a movie like this. Comes very, very heavily recommended from me.
Yeah. It's such a contained movie, right?
Yeah.
Like it's happening in one location. I remember the screams of the people when certain things are happening in Kill. So yeah, very strong recommend for me too. For you too, I imagine. You've seen Kill, right?
I've seen Kill.
Yeah. One movie that you already mentioned before, but I want to kind of get back to you, Rocky aur Rani ki Prem Kahani.
So this is probably the one movie that's come out in the last like 5 years that I can recommend to people if they want a Bollywood recommendation. It has very easy politics. It has stunning visuals, great songs, lovely performances by both Alia and Ranveer. Ranveer is fabulous in this. And it's so pretty, like Alia's dresses. Like this is an old school Bollywood movie in many ways, like we haven't seen a movie in a long time where women would want to wear the kind of fashion that the female lead is wearing. That used to be a staple of like the 90s and early 2000s. Now we don't really have that because everything is so like, I'm sorry, but it's shit. And Rocky Aur Rani really bucked that trend.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy, I don't know anyone who didn't enjoy it, including people who are huge Keijo skeptics.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that's very translatable as well, like it's
And also, having said that, it's one of the most fun subtitled movies ever.
Yes. Nasreen Munni Kabir did the subtitles for this film, and she really leaned into the feel of the language as well as just like translating it. And it's
That's
so
why
much
you
fun.
don't hire ChatGPT.
Yes.
She was like, note mat karo, feel karo. We're kind of wrapping up with the final two. I'll give you Tare Zameen Pe.
What if a giant hug for a small crying kid was a movie? Who doesn't relate to that? If you were a crying child, which I was...
we're delving into Sujoy's psyche here.
कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच गए? But yeah, Tare Zameen Par, I came out of that movie a very changed man, I would say. I had so much more empathy injected in me. I had no clue what this movie was going to be about. I thought it was just going to be, because the visuals of that movie when it was getting promoted was all about Bum Bum Bole and Amir being the wizard or whatever. But this is a movie about a dyslexic kid in India trying to find his place in the society, in a society which really heavily promotes competition and academics, and finding the support system, which is his family, not being the support system that he wants, and then to find this teacher who, gives him the love and the support that he needs. And it ends on such a crescendo. It's everything that you want from such a story, and you would love it.
Yeah, it's a lovely movie. I think also movies with kids are quite easy to recommend. I think it's a universal kind of thing. I think even like when I'm watching when I used to watch like Italian movies or French movie, if it has a kid in it, you kind of just like go with it, Like I think that's why the success of E.T. and stuff like that too, It's like something that we were all kids at a certain time. I'm not going to Amrita for any feedback on this movie because we already have her thoughts on this very clearly.
I love that both of you are just talking at me throughout this entire thing.
Too soon, bas.
We're not gonna let you. We're silencing women here.
But it's actually true. Like Tare Zameen Par is a good recommendation.
It's a good recommendation.
It's just not for me.
Yeah. It's like
you're Sayani.
Yeah, nobody's recommending it to you. You're recommending it to others. This is the final one. I want to talk about English Vinglish.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really good movie. Final Sridevi performance. Just like, if you want to see a queen, a cinematic queen in a very special, soft movie. It's not like, I think for Western audiences, maybe this idea of, a woman finding her self-worth again in a marriage where she feels with family and life, she's kind of lost herself or lost her sense of identity, refinding that. I think they might struggle with the final steps of the movie that she goes back to her family, that she goes back to her husband. But I think that's where it becomes a Bollywood or an Indian movie because it is so rooted in the values and the culture of, that cinematic landscape. I think, amazing performance, but also just a fun time to, be in a language school and have these different nationalities and different cultures, and you even have Pakistanis or Punjabis in there, I think, in the class, right?
It's very mind your language.
Yeah. And even like those movies, Auberge Espagnole, I don't know if...
Was that the European version of Mind Your Language?
No. It was like these people in Barcelona in a hostel, like all of these young people and kind of getting together. They did four of these movies. So it's just kind of a vibe that people can connect with very easily. Yeah, so for that, English Vinglish is, one of my top movies to recommend to people. I love it, and I think, it's just seeing Sridevi at her height, it's a lovely kind of movie. So that's kind of our main list. There were a few others that we want to, I think maybe level 2, these are not the immediate ones, but are there any that you want to kind of mention?
Yeah, I think people would scream in the comments if I didn't mention this. One of the Vishal Bharadwaj Shakespeare movies, I would say Omkara is the best one.
Heather also.
Heather is very Hamlet is not my favorite story. But Omkara is my favorite of the Shakespeare movies. Maqbool is very, very long, I would say. But
too artsy also, I think.
I think Omkara is, personally, yes, Omkara is my favorite, but I think it has a lot of cultural nuance to it.
Yeah, that's why it's level 2.
Yeah, because I think Heather is probably easier for people to understand because it's a very straight up adaptation of Hamlet. If you have watched Hamlet, if you know what Hamlet is, then you'll immediately understand what Heather is about. But Vishal Bharadwaj movie definitely should be there.
Any others, Amrita, that you kind of thought of?
Well, I'm just really interested in what you were saying.
Yeah, one director that we didn't talk about, obviously there's DDLJ, but Aditya Chopra, I think his movies work actually really well as recommendations, although they're very much Bollywood. Same thing with Karan Johar.
Yeah.
I've personally had people that have gotten obsessed with Mohabbatein. I used to have it on VHS.
Weird.
Yeah, it's so weird what connects.
Yeah.
But because half of it is, what's the name? Dead Poets Society, yes. Half of it's Dead Poets Society, so it's again a cinematic trope people know.
Yeah.
And then the idea of this man falling so deeply in love that the spirit of the woman is still with him. It just worked. Like I've gotten people obsessed with Mohabbatein back in the VHS era. And the second one is...
There were like 3 VHS.
yeah. And then there's Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi, I think is a very strong movie that really works. It's just something that people can connect with very easily. Amazing Shah Rukh performance.
Yeah.
It does get silly, but I think at that time, in that moment in the movie, you're kind of with it. And then the whole idea of she doesn't recognize him is that's a very clear Clark Kent Superman trope, right?
Yeah.
So again, it's a language that people can understand and speak. So I've had quite success with recommending Aditya Chopra movies, surprisingly.
I would say that you have had a lot of success not with recommending Aditya Chopra movies, but with recommending Shah Rukh Khan movies,
Yeah.
which is a subtle difference.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I would recommend Bazigar though. I wouldn't recommend necessarily Dar, right? Like, so, yeah.
No, romantic Shah Rukh.
Yeah.
Because what I remember of that stretch, the Mohabbatein to Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi, which is that 10-year stretch of Shah Rukh. What I remember is that is when he really went international.
Yeah.
Like the German fandom exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dawn 2 premiere at Berlinale.
Yeah, like all that stuff happened. And that was very much a Shah Rukh fueled frenzy for Bollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is our list. These are the ones we would recommend to people. If you've had a different journey coming to Bollywood, let us know which movie was your gateway drug. Let us know in the comment section which you have recommended and has been successful for your friends, or movies that we've missed out. And that's why the comment section is there. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.